turns off every time I talk to you. So from now on, just talk to me. I'll listen.
Welcome back to Tucson, Arizona. We're getting set for the second game of our doubleheader in the Desert Diamond Cup. The New York Red Bulls squaring off against the Seattle Sounders. Jonathan Yardley and Jonah Friedman with you from the Keno Veterans Memorial Stadium in snowy Tucson. I bet you didn't expect to hear that. Temperatures in the 30s. We had snow this morning. We got the first game started okay, and then we got some pretty heavy snowfall during it, and it has continued through warm-ups for the second game, but we will be playing it. And here's the update on what needs to happen for New York to reach the finals.
Pay attention, kids.
Seattle is already in Saturday's final. Real Salt Lake is in pole position to be the other team, but New York could overcome Real Salt Lake. Here's how they do it. They need to win by 3 goals, which would allow them to move up to +1 goal differential for the tournament and pass Real Salt Lake, which is even. Or the Red Bulls could win by 2 goals and score at least 4. So a 4-2 win or a 5-3 win would take New York through on the goals scored tiebreaker. If the Red Bulls win 3-1, they and Seattle will finish, or they and Real Salt Lake will finish level. 6 goals for, 6 goals against. God only knows how they will decide who plays in the final. We've been, again, discussing arm wrestling, potentially a Jason Christ, Mike Petke showdown, maybe Jeff Cassar against Robin Fraser on the undercard. We'll wait and see.
I'd watch that.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be good television. We'll turn to the starting lineups. The New York Red Bulls need a 3-0 win, so surely they've got all their stars. No, it's preseason. Luis Robles starts in goal. Kosuke Kimura, Jamison Olave, Heath Pierce, Roy Miller. Pretty strong back line. The midfield, Juninho and Eric Alexander holding. Ruben Izquierdo, Spanish guy, our first look at him, starts at attacking mid. We'll see how the midfield shape works out. Up front, Connor Lade starts on the left. Didn't see that one coming. Fabian Espindal up front, Josue Martinez on the right. That's how the lineup was given to us. We'll see exactly how it plays out. Interesting look, Jonah. What are you looking for?
I'm looking to see what they're going to do with this lineup. I mean, this is something I'm just not used to seeing. And they've got a lot of new faces out there. Fabian Espindal obviously is the highlight of that. But Josue Martinez is a young kid who they expect a lot of. And Ruben Izquierdo, a Spaniard with fairly pedigreed, coming from the Charlton and also starting obviously in Spain. Could be a good one for them. So I just want to see what this unit can do.
We turn to the Seattle Sounders, the familiar 4-4-2 for Ziggy Schmid. Mixed bag of a lineup. We'll see some starters probably late in the game. Marcus Hahnemann starts in goal, certainly a very strong starting spot for Seattle. The back four, Dylan Remick, the draft pick out of Brown, is going to start at right back. He's normally a left back. Eric Zavaleta and Ashani Fairclaw in the middle. Mark Birch at left back. In the midfield, Alex Kasky on the right. Servando Carrasco and Andy Rose in the middle. Lamar Nagel on the left. Up front, Sammy Ochoa with Travis Bowen. So, Jonah, we've got guys who are unsigned. We've got guys who are signed but have barely played. And we've got some guys who are typically depth players, one of whom, Andy Rose, is going to have a key role to play in Seattle's Champions League run. What are you most curious about with this lineup tonight?
Well, and then we've also got Tristan Bowen's brother Travis up top, along with Sammy Ochoa. This is kind of like the sort of unit you would expect to see in a Champions League group stage game. That's what's interesting about this. But of course, they're saving that first unit for the Champions League quarterfinals, which start the week after first opening weekend. So this is obviously an experimental lineup for Seattle to provide some depth, but there are some position battles that are out there that we can take a look at tonight.
March 6th at Tigres is the first leg of that Champions League quarterfinal. March 12th at home to Tigres in Seattle, the second leg. And again, we mentioned Seattle has a scrimmage or a friendly lined up Friday night against Veracruz from Mexico. They're expected to play starters in that game as preparation for the Tigres match by playing a team with a roughly similar style. So we do expect to see more reserves tonight and more reserves Saturday than Friday night's game, which Jonah will be bringing you written account of. There will be no live stream that I'm aware of for Friday night. But a bit of a different take on the preseason. Again, Champions League looming in Seattle's mind. The first game today, we're taking a look back at the first game of the tournament. Eddie Johnson with one of the goals of the tournament against New England. Here's another look as he cuts to the left foot and curls it in. Seattle winning the opening game 2-0, thanks in part to that Johnson goal. And then on Saturday in the tournament, Seattle taking on Real Salt Lake, and the goal of the tournament so far is this clearance fell to Mario Martinez, and he does what Mario Martinez does. Rips one into the side netting to beat Real Salt Lake.
At least that's what he does against Real Salt Lake, isn't it?
They're waiting to see it against everybody else, and that has gotten Seattle to this 2-0 record. They have clinched a spot in the final on Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on the NBC Sports Network on Saturday. And again, Seattle will be playing either Real Salt Lake, which would be yet another head-to-head meeting between those two teams, this one in prime time, even if it's preseason, or against the New York Red Bulls. It would be a rematch if New York can win by 3 goals, which seems kind of unlikely tonight.
Well, it's a wet pitch. At least it's uniformly wet at this point, but you'd be very surprised to see a high-scoring game with these kinds of conditions, but you never know.
In the first game today, New England and Real Salt Lake squaring off, and Real Salt Lake dealing with the conditions, got out to an early lead. The conditions may have helped them. Bobby Shuttleworth couldn't hold this shot from Sebastian Velasquez, and Devin Sandoval tapped it into an empty net to give Real Salt Lake the 1-0 lead. And then Bobby Shuttleworth redeeming himself with that save just before halftime. In the second half, New England, just like they did against New York on Saturday, came out firing. Diego Fagundes getting to the end line. Andy Dorman tapping it in. And that tied the game. And then shortly after, Gabe Latigue, a rookie out of Elon trying to earn a contract, delivered this free kick. AJ Soares headed it into the top corner. New England, coming from behind, was up 2-1. Looked like they might have been on their way to the tournament final, but not so fast. Late in the game, Real Salt Lake starters in. Alvaro Saborio beats 2 defenders, gets onto his left foot, rips it into the top corner. That tied it with 2 minutes to go. And then right at 90 minutes, Ned Grabavoy cut it back, and Kari Stevenson laced it low past Bobby Shuttleworth. The game-winning goal right at the death. Real Salt Lake 3, New England 2. Jay Heap's not a happy camper.
No, especially not. We said this in the last stream. If you've got a lead and you're looking pretty close to bringing it home, you got to figure out a way to hold it. And New England really kind of caved under the pressure at the end there. Real Salt Lake starters only came in for the final half hour and looked a little shaky at first, probably a little bit of the cold and the snow, just sort of some cobwebs to knock off, but played their way into form, and then Saborio with a great hit, and then some really good work by Ned Grabavoy down by the end line to get that ball over to Kari Stevenson.
This will be our final stream from Tucson. A reminder, you can interact with us during the stream by tweeting at JT Yardley and at Jonah Friedman. Send us comments, questions. We'll try to answer them during the broadcast.
Did we say no on the fashion tips? What do we decide?
You can send fashion tips. Whether or not Jonah and I will be able to implement them is another story altogether. Certainly, also given the weather, certain fashion accessories may not be available, but send them to JT Yardley and at Jonah Friedman. The Seattle Sounders and the New York Red Bulls squaring off on this Wednesday night. Rain has slowed a little bit, although it's still coming down. We don't know if it's rain or snow. It's cold. That's the important thing. And again, these two teams wrapping up the, quote, group stage of this tournament. We'll have a third-place game on Saturday. MLSsoccer.com will have written coverage of that. No stream available. And then NBC Sports will have the championship game Saturday night. with Seattle taking on either Real Salt Lake or the New York Red Bulls. We've also got action around the country, preseason action in Major League Soccer. Earlier in the day at Blackbaud Stadium in Charleston, Houston beat Vancouver 2-1. Both teams now 1-1 in the tournament. Vancouver took the early lead, Corey Herzog scoring in the first half. Houston put some of its offensive starters in late, and right away they produced. Will Bruin in the 75th minute, Adam Moffitt, another 40-yard hit, I haven't seen it yet, in the 76th to give Houston a 2-1 win. And in the other game, Chicago beat Charleston 2-1. Jonah, do you have any details that you can provide?
Yeah, Fire midfielder Brazilian Alex nailing a spectacular...
This sounds like you're reading.
Well, it might be. Simon Borg's recap just came in. A stoppage time game winner over the Charleston Battery, the hosts of this tournament, getting the win there, the Chicago Fire.
So Chicago 2-0. Again, a late game winner from Alex. Houston, Vancouver 1-1. Charleston 0-2. So that'll be interesting to see who ends up winning that one. Chicago already... obviously in the driver's seat, will play Vancouver on Saturday. The other tournament in progress, the Portland tournament up at Geldwen Field. AIK Solna and San Jose were scoreless in the second half last we checked. Later tonight, Portland will play Dallas. Nobody has a win in that tournament yet, all ties so far. So we'll see who ends up getting the best of that one. But certainly Portland and Dallas later tonight. That's kicking off at 10:30 Eastern. Ought to be an interesting one. That is your out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by MLSsoccer.com.
I like this matchup here tonight a lot, and I'll tell you why. For one, you have two teams that are really trying to, in a way, kind of reinvent themselves this season. Seattle having the most significant roster turnover, really, of their MLS tenure. Obviously, Freddie Montero is the main name that's going out, and they've really kind of ridden the shoulders of Eddie Johnson. He's the main focal point of their attack, and right now they're a team in full stride. They're really preparing for Champions League right now, and they have to start early. New York, on the other hand, another big turnover during the offseason. Hans Backe sent packing. Mike Pecky in here, obviously a very respected guy, and really trying to mold this team in his own image while keeping some of these stars happy.
Underway from the second game of our doubleheader, the Keno Veterans Memorial Stadium in Tucson. Jonathan Yardley and Jonah Friedman with you. New York in the white jerseys, red shorts, white socks, going left to right in the first half. Seattle in all rave green, going right to left. As we get underway, Armando Villarreal, the head referee, Ishmael Elfath, the fourth official for this one. And right away, it's
favorite name in all refereeing.
Elfath?
Ishmael Elfath.
It's a good one. I'm a fan of the Bazakos family myself. This one played into the penalty area, looking for Espindola, and Ashani Fairclaw brings it back to Marcus Hahnemann, who clears it for Seattle. We'll try to keep you posted on some of the backgrounds of the less familiar names. Some of these Seattle players, especially a bit new to the league, as Eric Zavaleta loses his footing and the flag goes up. It's offside against Espindola. He thinks he's being called for a push, but I believe it was offside as Zavaleta just tripped there. But it will be a free kick for Seattle at the back. Fairclaw, 23-year-old undrafted rookie out of South Florida. He is Jamaican, 6'2", 164. He'll be playing right center back. And Zavaleta, our first extended look at him here in Tucson. He only got about 15 minutes earlier in the tournament on the ball right now. 6'1", 185, 20-year-old rookie out of Indiana. He was a great goal scorer in college, but is considered to have a higher upside as a pro at center back.
Very similar to Andrew Wenger coming out as a #1 draft pick last year to Montreal. Very similar thing with him. Played forward pretty much exclusively in college, but also very good at center back. And he did a tiny bit of both for Montreal last year.
Most of the time, Jesse Marsh said, I see him as a forward, though. Ziggy Schmid so far has said he sees Zavaleta more as a center back, but he hasn't ruled out playing him at forward either. Here's Marcus Hahnemann at the back for Seattle. This is Mark Birch. He was suspended for Saturday's game after being red carded in the tournament opener. He's back in there at left back, and we've mentioned Dylan Remick, usually a left back, is over on the other side at right back. Adam Johansson still a bit banged up for Seattle. There's Travis Bowen on the ball, backward to Birch. We'll bring it all the way back to Marcus Hahnemann. Travis Bowen, the younger brother of Tristan, who is now with Chivas USA, he remains MLS's first homegrown player, signed by the LA Galaxy in late 2008. And Travis will be instantly recognizable with the bleached hair up front. He's been with the Ventura County Fusion last summer.
Yeah, good San Fernando Valley boys, not all that far from my old stomping grounds.
Servando Carrasco deep in the Seattle midfield going forward. Looking for Ochoa off the left-hand side, plays it across. Nobody gets there. The slide at the back post. And Caskey couldn't connect. And it'll be out for a goal kick, but good work by Ochoa.
Yeah, I think players are going to find that doing any kind of sliding action on the field tonight is not going to do all that well for them. It is very soggy out there. Started snowing this afternoon at about noon and had only let up about an hour ago. First time it's snowed in Tucson in 5 years, apparently.
So Lamar Nagel is wearing 14, and Alex
He
Caskey is wearing 27, so
we got that sorted.
I got the edge on that one. Another loss of the footing, and Zavaleta takes down Espindola in the D. Eric Zavaleta struggling with staying on his feet in the early going, and this has pretty much got to be a yellow card. And it is for Zavaleta in just the 4th minute. Could have been a red card in the regular season, and kind of unfortunate. And it gives New York a dangerous free kick chance. Here's a look at it. As Espindola burst through, and Zavaleta just losing his footing, kind of reached out and got a piece of Espindola. So free kick to New York inside the D. And this is a little closer than he usually hits from, but Juninho is world class. And I mean that with absolutely no hyperbole. World class at striking dead balls.
What do they say? You just can't teach this?
Here goes Juninho. Just missed the far post. Marcus Hahnemann was in the area. Might have had it covered.
Juninho's been playing his way into shape during Red Bull's camp. He hasn't really been participating in full practice with the team until recently, but the entire team has said they've been extremely impressed by the dead ball skills because that's something they've been watching on TV for years and years when he played with Lyon and the Brazilian national team, and now here he is in MLS.
And his second outing in the preseason on Saturday was a terrific performance in the first half. New York only was up 1-0 at halftime, but Juninho scored the goal, was dangerous on another play, and was just good in general. Much more mobile than I expected him to be, so that's a good sign.
Is he 90 minutes fit? That's the question. Probably not at this point.
Certainly not yet. Here is Juninho switching for the right back, Kosuke Kimura. Tried to play forward in the direction of Josue Martinez, who lost his footing. We told you the elements had wreaked havoc on this field. And Marcus Hahnemann has it for Seattle.
It's not the comfortable carpet of CenturyLink, is it?
You may be the first and only to say comfortable carpet.
I think for them it's comfortable.
Eric Alexander looking to move the ball, goes backward to Olave. Now Roy Miller on the left, part of a three-way competition for the left back spot with the Red Bulls. Haven't seen Izquierdo get very many touches yet for New York, but we're very curious to see him. He was listed as a winger, doesn't turn 21 until June. There's a touch for him, going over toward the sideline. Gets it away to Connor Lade. Lade in the corner, early cross at the near post, and Marcus Hahnemann had to be alert to keep that one from drifting in. Not the cross Connor Lade wanted to hit, but good movement by Izquierdo to get the ball to him.
Not a bad look. You had Fabian Espindola crashing the post there, trying to get there. A little bit beyond him, but it's not a bad look to start.
Hahnemann upfield with the left foot. Travis Bowen trying to hold it up against Olave. Does well. Wide for Nagel. Nagel cutting inside. Got taken down by Josue Martinez. We play the advantage, says Armando Villarreal. They try to return the pass to Bowen, and it's out off of Travis Bowen for a New York throw-in. 8th minute just underway from Tucson. Jonathan Yardley and Jonah Friedman with you. Glad you could join us on this Wednesday night. Late on the East Coast, less so on the West Coast. Both these teams will be in action again on Saturday. Seattle will play in the championship game. New York still to be determined, but they need a big win today if they're going to join Seattle in the final. Otherwise, it'll be Real Salt Lake and Seattle squaring off yet again.
What a rivalry that's turned into over the years, hasn't it?
It really has. We talked to several players about that and just how meaningful those games have become and the intensity with which they're played. kind of generates the rivalry on its own. We've seen Houston and Kansas City do the same thing on the other side, on the other conference. And certainly RSL, Seattle, and you could throw the Galaxy in there as well, since they seem to play the winner in the final as really big-time rivals.
That term that gets thrown around a lot these days is identity. What is your team's identity? And certainly Real Salt Lake and Seattle have distinct identities. When you see them play, you know what they're about, you know their style, you know the fan bases too. So it's really a nice sort of development in the evolution of MLS, and the fact that they're rivals only adds to that. And rivalries because of the play, let's be fair there. It's because they played some really great contests between each other over the years.
Long switch looking for Lade, racing with Remick, who brings it backward to Marcus Hahnemann. Confident with his feet, gets it away to Fairclough. Of course, we can't talk Sounders without talking the big news of the week. Shalrie Joseph, acquired from Chivas USA, will occupy the third designated player slot for the Sounders, although they're sharing the responsibility of his salary with Chivas USA. What's your take on the move?
I think that if he can get healthy and get fit and shows that he's a contributor for this team, I think it's a good move. The question that I have...
Espindala's chance broken up by Mark Birch.
The question that I have is it worth the DP slot? Because Seattle has shown over the years that they are not afraid to use those slots on big-name players, and that's going to continue, you've got to think. So the question becomes, are you signing him as a DP at the expense of being able to sign another big name?
And, of course, Christian Tiffert has not been with the team in preseason. He's back in Seattle, so kind of unclear what's happening with that situation, as Seattle still has room, has time to make moves and open up room before the season begins. Yeah,
and two big names surfacing over the last week, and that's Javier Saviola, the former Argentine national teamer. He plays for Malaga. He's obviously pedigreed.
I love Javier Saviola.
Oh, yeah. Played small guy, but so quick and such a dangerous finisher. Played for both Real Madrid and Barcelona. And Obafemi Martins over the last couple days has surfaced as a possibility. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but man,
they're
awesome
both
too.
fun. They're both fun names
yeah.
to imagine MLS guys that we've watched over the years. I mean, Obafemi Martins for the celebration alone.
And he's literally played in the top 4 leagues in the world. He's played in England, Germany, Spain, and Italy.
Here's Espindola in the attacking half for New York. Laid in the box. Josue Martinez out wide, brings it backward to Juninho. Here's Heath Pierce, switching it for Kosuke Kimura. He and Brandon Barklage are two of the options at right back for the Red Bulls. Izquierdo is out wide on the left now.
Yes. I was waiting for that.
A la izquierda?
A la izquierda.
That will probably be the extent of our Spanish on this broadcast.
You never know.
You can go to futbolmls.com for coverage from our own Diego Pinzon from this tournament.
It's the best segue of the night right there. Well done.
It only took me 6 games.
It's how you close the count yards.
I know he has a very good interview with Sebastian Velasquez that'll be on the site at some point in the next month or so. I don't know exactly when it's going to hit, but I was there for it, and my Spanish is not great, but I could tell it was a good interview.
Diego does good work.
He, of course, had the money interview with Chelis that has stoked some of the Chivas USA interest building up in this preseason. There's Roy Miller getting forward on the left. Lade tried to return it to him. Pass was broken up. Now Servando Carrasco trying to take advantage for Seattle. Ahead for Kasky with a lot of space out there. Overlap by Carrasco. Cross is deflected, still loose in the corner. And Lade cleans it up with authority. Out for a Seattle throw-in. 12th minute, no score. Seattle and New York from Tucson. Andy Rose switch in the direction of Nagel, over hit, and it'll run out for a goal kick.
It's nice to see Nagel back patrolling that left side for Seattle. He spent some good time there a couple of years ago, became a fan favorite for them, and was off in the wilderness, I would say, with Montreal for a while, and ended up back in Seattle in a trade a couple months ago.
Just because they speak French, it's the wilderness?
It's the wilderness for a guy who becomes a fan favorite somewhere and doesn't see as many minutes elsewhere, yes. A lot of conditions, but I think it works.
Okay. A couple of the other names available for Seattle today, not the household name that Shalrie Joseph is. We don't expect to see Shalrie Joseph today. Just
he's in the building.
Got in during the day. He is here. A couple of names kind of at the end of the Seattle bench, you might say. Jennings Rex, Kevin Durr out of Air Force, and Stephen Okai, drafted by Philadelphia, just joined Seattle today. Juninho taken down at the D, and we play through it. Armando Villarreal waves play on. Here's Kosuke Kimura. So those are some of the more obscure guys we could see. Stephen Okai, former NAIA Player of the Year at the University of Mobile.
But you knew that.
Bet you knew that.
New York also picking up Johnny Steele today.
Yes. He is also in the building and also not expected to play, but it could happen.
Made his debut really with Real Salt Lake in competitive play here last year at the Desert Diamond Cup.
Said he had an 18-hour travel day or something to get here. So if he gets in, we don't know where his legs are going to be.
I think that's one for every tattoo on his upper body.
Scoreless game, 14th minute as Marcus Hahnemann lines up the goal kick. The FC Tucson supporters letting him have it with that one. I think they're equal opportunity goalkeeper harassers. Free kick to Seattle in the attacking half. Someone questioning my math on Twitter. Is that what it seems?
Well, a lot of people are. People are wondering, how, from Dan Cavella, how can RBNY finish second Desert Diamond Cup and play this Saturday night? And apparently the answer from FC Tucson, the hosts of this tournament, are New York has to win and have a goal difference better than 0 to advance to the final.
An overall goal difference of better than 0. That's correct.
Which
means a win in this game of at least 3. They could also win by 2 goals as long as they score at least 3. So a 4-2 win would send them through. A 3-1 win would get us in a complete tie. Again, we're proposing arm wrestling.
No, I like the best of 3 battleship tournament.
Going to get a Bill and Ted reference there.
Nice.
Awfully fast. Luis Robles from Arizona missed the first game of the tournament with a sore back.
He's from just down the road here, actually, not far from Tucson.
Safe to say, of the fans that are here, he's responsible for more than a few.
I'm not sure the fans here appreciated the weather.
Heath Pierce on it to the left of center. Roy Miller ahead of him. Izquierdo was making a long run and didn't get rewarded for it. Juninho coming back deep for the ball. And that's one of the things I'm curious to see with Juninho is whether he plays a more attacking role, a more defensive role, or he kind of floats between them.
It's going to be interesting because he's not a speedy guy, so to expect him to get back and play defense is kind of a big ask. But maybe you don't sign a guy like that to go back and play defense.
Mike Petke said they did their homework. They watched plenty of tape from his games with Vasco da Gama in Brazil last year. Felt very confident he could make an impact.
I'll put it this way. The Galaxy didn't sign David Beckham to get back and play defense, but he certainly did the job when he absolutely had to.
He did, occasionally.
Doesn't have the type of athleticism you'd like to see for somebody to rush back like that, but yes, he got it done.
Here's Izquierdo. Switch for Martinez on the right corner of the penalty area. Has 2 defenders on him, and Lamar Nagel breaks it up, and it's out off of Martinez for a Seattle throw-in. Martinez, left-footed player on the right, was clearly trying to get back to that left foot there and was outnumbered.
Just realizing this New York lineup right now, out of all the 11 out there, I think only 2 of them were on the opening day roster last year. Heath Pierce and Connor Lade.
It doesn't seem like a rebuilding project because they expect to win right away, and you see the players they have up front. But there certainly are a lot of new faces in New York camp.
Well, that entire back line is new, except for
Pierce, who's been moved to different spots on it.
And he came over in a trade from Chivas USA, so. But then again, who hasn't these days?
Rose long switch for Remick, who made a good run, but it's just out of his reach in the corner.
You look all up and down this roster. Jamison Olave came in from Real Salt Lake, as did Espindola. Roy Miller is the incumbent. Juninho came from Brazil. Eric Alexander from Portland, right?
Yes.
Izquierdo from Spain. Josue Martinez was released by Philadelphia. Oh, no, he was traded. I'm sorry. And Connor Lade, the homegrown.
Other news in MLS today. Carlos Ruiz back to Major League Soccer with DC United. What do you make of this one? That was one of the I did not expect him to go to that team.
I'm surprised that he went there. Yeah, I'm not surprised to see him back because you got the impression over the years that he really sort of has a home here in MLS, and he always seemed to enjoy it here at all of his 16 stops across the league. But every single team apparently in the allocation order above DC passed on the opportunity to get him.
Right-footed cross, loose in the box. Both Lade and Martinez were there, but it's broken up.
And that included Chivas USA, who reportedly were interested in him. Of course, Ruiz used to play under Chelis when they both at Puebla in Mexico.
Right, I was very surprised to see that DC was behind Chivas USA in the allocation order after the signing was announced.
But DC's going all in this year. It's good. I think they're a couple players away from really, really being a contender for MLS Cup, and they seem to have filled some holes.
Let's say, which couple players? 19th minute, no score. New York and Seattle. Battle on the near touchline, and the throw-in goes New York's way. Lamar Nagel not happy about it. Martinez fighting for the ball, knocked away to Ochoa. Moves it quickly to Kasky. Travis Bowen tried to return the favor. It was broken up by Heath Pierce. Gets it away to Connor Lade. Now Seattle, though, wins it back, aided by Dylan Remick. Here's Bowen on the right side. Remick. Left-footed cross, and a dangerous one, and Luis Robles off his line has it at the edge of the 6-yard box, but not bad by Dylan Remick to get that one in. Quickly, New York trying to go the other way. Josue Martinez tried to play Espindola in, but he had broken off wide, and it's collected by Birch, the left back. Little end-to-end action, though. Carrasco's pass off the mark rolls all the way to Luis Robles. Did we get any good questions on Twitter, or do we need to ask again?
No, we got some good ones, besides the permutations of the final here.
Again, New York win by 3, and they're good. Win by 2. Well, we'll wait and see. It depends on how many goals they score.
Actually, we answered both good questions we got on Twitter without even addressing the tweets.
Oh, well.
Serves you people right.
Thanks for tweeting at us. Shot from distance by Espindola sails well over the target. Reminder, you can tweet us, send us your questions at JT Yardley, at Jonah Friedman. Ask us your questions about these teams, about the upcoming MLS season, about Jonah's fashion, whatever you want to bring up.
Yeah, somebody just informed us that it's actually Bow Tie Wednesday.
Right now?
Yep. Hope you are supporting the trend.
That was not a memo that made its way to my inbox. Here's Roy Miller getting forward on the left. Outside to Izquierdo. Back to Miller. Here's Juninho. Eric Alexander. Good move to get past one man. Breaks to the top of the penalty area. Tried to cross it. Remick got in the way. Carrasco back defending as well, and it's out for a goal kick. Last touched by Alexander. New York really stockpiling midfield depth, acquiring Alexander, Steele, and of course Izquierdo and Juninho brought in.
It's a lot of parts that have come together in the last few days, though, to be quite frank. Only Juninho really is the one who was picked up any time earlier in the offseason. All these other faces you just mentioned and joining the team in the last week or so. So this is just a chemistry test out here. A lot of these guys are playing with each other for the first time.
Remick wins that one again. Now Izquierdo up for New York. Connor Lade not able to win it for the Red Bulls. Aerial supremacy not his strong suit. Kosuke Kimura defending as Seattle tries to overlap. And Josue Martinez comes back. But the foul whistled against New York. It'll be a free kick for Seattle. Josue Martinez has shown a good work rate defensively. I think of him as a forward. Certainly played out wide in Philadelphia as well. But he's been able to get back and make an impact for New York, which certainly is going to be required from those outside guys.
Yeah, he's an athletic little guy, and I think that's really helpful for them, obviously.
Martinez doesn't turn 23 until March 25th. Now his second year in MLS. Caskey's delivery going back post, and it runs through everybody. Looked like Miller tried to get a head on. I think it came off his head. It will be a corner kick for Seattle. First corner of the game from the far side. And again, Caskey with the number 27 on his back trots over to take it. In deep left center.
I should probably tell you that I called Josue Martinez a little guy. He's my height. So I guess I consider myself small at 5'10".
Caskey's delivery looking for Fairclough. It runs all the way through. And Olave will bring it out of the back for New York. Tried to play it low on the ground. It was broken up there. Well done by Zavaleta. But New York wins it in the midfield. That pass off the mark. Here is Zavaleta to Birch at left back. Seattle still trying to get its shape back after the set piece. Birch's pass too far for Nagel. Ochoa took a tumble behind the ball, but gets right back to his feet. Now Connor Lade on the left, Roy Miller overlapping. Lade plays it to Espindola. Leaves it for Miller. Early ball in, looking for Lade. Headed down well by Carrasco, who was tracking back.
It's a nice run there by Lade, though. Finding space, definitely knowing exactly what Miller was about to do. They just couldn't quite connect.
We've seen some of New York's most fluid bits in this tournament have come through Miller getting down that left-hand side. He's such an attacking weapon. The question, of course, is he consistent, and can he defend well enough all the time?
He may be one of the most underappreciated, or you could argue, controversial guys in New York camp over the last maybe 5 years or so. Because when he does the job well, he does it very well, but there are often times when he'll miss a key tackle at the wrong time, or he'll get scored on, and the fans just destroy him.
Here's Lade, middle of the field, going to have a go, and it's off the mark, twisting away from Marcus Hahnemann.
And there you go again, Lade making the best of his chances, being aggressive, staying alert.
We're seeing him come inside a lot, and Izquierdo drifting out wide to, predictably, the left-hand side. Foul whistle against Seattle, free kick to the Red Bulls. New York will start its season March 3rd. Nice way to start, at Portland. That's a heck of an environment for Mike Petke to make his competitive head coaching debut. March 10th at San Jose, the defending Supporters Shield winners. And then March 16th, the home opener at Red Bull Arena against DC United. That's rivalry week. DC United, one of Mike Petke's former teams. That's going to be a special day.
And Seattle hosting Portland that same day.
There's a lot going on that day.
Rivalry weekend's going to be fun.
Juninho headed away by Andy Rose in the middle of the Seattle penalty area. Here's Remick on the right. Had that one come back off of him, and it'll be a New York throw-in. Eric Alexander in the middle of the field to Juninho. Izquierdo was bumped off the ball, and we play through it. Long ball now driven by Birch. Spins out of bounds for a New York throw-in.
It's Rondo Carrasco being cast in the role of Oswaldo Alonso today, and that's obviously a position where they could use some depth there. Alonso's one of the best in the league at the holding mid, obviously, and now they bring in Shawry Joseph. You don't know where he's going to fall into that mix, or whether Siggy's going to use him as a center back, as Jay Heaps did a couple times last year, and
as Chivas USA
did a lot. So
foul called against Martinez there.
I've always liked Carrasco as a player, though, so it'd be nice for him to find a home.
He's not going to get a whole lot of minutes playing behind Alonso, but Rose also a guy who's been asked to play in a similar role.
Yep.
And Ziggy Schmid mentioned him as the likely starter for the Champions League first leg at Tigres. He also said, and this intrigued me, that he wants to try Mauro Rosales up top with Eddie Johnson and likely put Mario Martinez in Rosales' spot on the right side of midfield.
It's no secret what kind of strategy you're going to employ if you've got Eddie Johnson and Mauro Rosales as your front two.
Lade lays it off for Alexander. Tried to get it back to Roy Miller. It was deflected out of bounds for a New York throw-in. So I don't know if we'll see those tonight or if we'll wait and try those on Friday. And I thought Zakawani might also get a look at forward for Seattle, but that was not something that Ziggy Schmidt brought up. And this one knocked out for a New York corner.
Rose obviously played a good amount of minutes last year at that position. So
Seattle opens its season March 2nd at Philadelphia, and then the Champions League Series March 6th at Tigres in Monterrey, March 12th at home at CenturyLink Field. That's going to be a great atmosphere. And March 16th, the home opener for the regular season against Chicago. New York corner kick. Marcus Hahnemann has it ahead of both Espíndola and Olave.
U.S. national team midfielder Juan Francisco Torres is now with Tigres. So, or Jose
Jose.
Francisco Torres, sorry.
Wow.
Nice little bit of intrigue there. Obviously, Americans have done not so badly in this tournament on other teams in Mexico. Hercules
There's
Gomez
a giveaway. Here's Lamar Nagel in the penalty area. Nagel to his left foot. Robles makes the save, charging off his line. That's the biggest play of the game so far.
That's a good, mature save there by Luis Robles to come out and meet that. He's been a very good pickup for New York since they acquired him last year in midseason after Ryan Mira went down.
And he very well appears likely to enter the season as the starter. Ryan Mira still not back to action following the hip injury. Ian Joyce, the other goalkeeper in camp with the Red Bulls, in addition to the 17-year-old Santiago Castaño, who we saw start the opening game of the tournament.
And he's one for the future, but he's definitely in the mix. He's here to learn at this point, I think.
Castaño?
Yes.
Yes. No, the Red Bulls do not intend to see him on the field in an MLS game this year, and most teams don't play with a 17-year-old goalkeeper, so no surprise there.
But there's some good young goalkeepers coming up through the ranks of these academies right now. Richard Sanchez at FC Dallas.
John Kempen in Kansas City. Here's Espíndola's low cross. Zavaleta dealt with it a little awkwardly, and it comes out for a Red Bulls corner kick.
Let's not forget David Bingham in San Jose, even Brian Perk in LA to a degree.
So it will be a corner for the Red Bulls. That goalkeeping situation in Dallas is interesting. I know it's off topic, but Chris Seitz, Raul Fernandez, both there ahead of Sanchez. It's very interesting grouping.
Well, Charles Heineman has said that Sanchez is one for the future. And it's like we were talking about before. You don't want to rush these guys in too quickly.
Juninho's delivery going back post this time. Olave's header right at Marcus Hahnemann. But again, the delivery from Juninho creating all kinds of problems for the Seattle back line. In the end, Hahnemann had that one fairly comfortably, and now Kimura heads backward to Robles.
And this is pretty much New York's starting back four, isn't it? More or less. Marcus Holgerson is in the mix, but at this point, I would start Pierce and Olave together.
Whether Pierce plays center or left back is still a bit of a question mark in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
He said he has no preference in the matter. Just wants to play, which is the right answer. And speaking of Heath Pierce.
Yeah, we have a request actually from Heath Pierce to us personally. He wanted us to wish his grandfather, William Papa Pierce, a happy 92nd birthday. Apparently his grandpa watches every single game and has been watching all the streams. So
happy birthday.
Sending this out to Modesto, California. Happy birthday, Papa.
Modesto.
Modesto. Mighty Central Valley.
The Nuts? Is that right? The baseball team?
Perhaps.
You're the California guy.
Yeah, I don't get much minor league baseball these days. I know the Stockton Ports. That's a good one. It's not that far away.
Zavaleta at the back for Seattle. Very interested to see if and how he develops at the back there. He's much less playing time at center back than Andrew Wenger had. Wenger really split his college career between defender and forward. He was defender of the year one year and offensive player of the year the next at Duke.
Sounds like Siggy Schmidt is pretty high on Dylan Remick as well, though, so some intrigue for the young guys in back.
32nd minute, no score. Best chance of the game fell to Seattle with Luis Robles making the stop on Lamar Nagel a couple of minutes ago. This one knocked out of bounds. And we'll get a look back at Nagel's chance. Got past one man there, kind of did a hesitation and got past another. Always trying to get onto that left foot. And Luis Robles charged out well to make the stop.
Making himself big and getting low.
He dealt
Great save.
dealt well with an awkward bounce on
Definitely.
that back pass there. And it's eventually knocked out for a New York throw.
Meanwhile, Marcus Hahnemann just looks bored, doesn't he? Hasn't
He's
much to do.
He's gotten a lot of touches with his feet,
Yeah.
and then just the one save off the corner,
Yep.
but right at him. You talk about 1-2 goalkeeping punches. Zicky Schmidt has a good one.
Yeah, he said he's been calling it kind of 1 and 1A with Michael Geschperning and Hahnemann being 1A. So I don't know what that leaves the third guy. Would he be 2B? Josh Ford?
I think he would still be number 3. Saw Ford earlier in the tournament. He's been with the Sounders for a couple years now.
We expect to see him later today, actually.
Good touch here. Set Miller free on the left. Inside to Izquierdo. Neat turn. Right-footed switch for Espindola. Nagel again coming back to help. Espindola goes to the right foot. Plays it across to the back post, but overhit it. And Alex Kasky tracks it down on the far side for Seattle. Lade pressuring. Remick got through one. Tackles to get through another. And now Kasky wins a throw-in for Seattle. But New York has said they want to play higher pressure. And we've seen that at times tonight with those outside wings pushing forward. No foul whistled there as Martinez was taken down and Seattle clears out of the back. Here's Lade inside to Izquierdo. Back to Lade, keeps going. Return pass was blocked, but right back to Connor Lade from the fine town of Morristown, New Jersey. Josue Martinez, top of the penalty area. Lamar Nagel blocked the shot and took Martinez down at the same time. Tries to start the Seattle counter. And playing through a lot of challenges here. Kosuke Kimura, physical there. New York trying to turn. Left-footed shot. Marcus Hahnemann dives to his left to stop Espindola.
There you go. Some action for Hahnemann.
And New York's been a little bit more dangerous over the last couple of minutes.
Starting to put things together. I have to throw this out here because I've been checking Twitter. Apparently Landon Donovan is right now speaking at a journalism class at USC, talking about his experiences when David Beckham first came to the Galaxy and also how his marriage to Bianca Kalick fell apart. There's something you don't see every day. It's getting live tweeted, if this is to be believed, by a USC student.
I would wager that student will pick up a lot of followers tonight.
I don't even know what to make of that.
Nagel's cross here falls to Travis Bowen. Left-footed shot. Kick saved by Robles. The rebound knocked home for Seattle. The opening goal for the Sounders at the back post. I believe it was Alex Kasky. Robles made one save, but the second one from a tight angle slammed into the far corner. There's a look at the first save. And just a right-footed rip at the back post to put Seattle up 1-0. Sounders 2-0 in the tournament. And now up 1-0 in the third game. So Real Salt Lake's chances of playing in the final helped with that one.
This gets more interesting with every kick of the ball, doesn't it? Robles making a pretty good save on that first attempt, and ball just getting away from him.
Long switch for Martinez. Trying to cross this one in. The header deflects off the top of Izquierdo's head and went backward. And Seattle trying to go the other way. There is Kasky feeding Travis Bowen. Kept it moving well to Ochoa. Long switch, and Robles tracks it down. And we're hearing it was Alex Kasky, which is what we thought.
I mean, you can't tell from our
Yeah,
seats high above home plate here at the Keno Veterans Coliseum.
The ones that have been tough to tell have happened at the goal farthest away from us tonight, out in deep, deep left.
Funny, when I used to cover baseball for Sports Illustrated way back in the day, I actually came here to cover the Arizona Diamondbacks. So I've been to the stadium before
When
in
it
its
was
original
Tucson
use.
Electric Park?
Exactly, yeah. Wasn't a bad place for baseball. And now it's mostly soccer, as we know.
Kasky chips in, and it's caught by Robles. I think the Padres have one more year here, the AAA team?
I believe that's correct, yeah. Until they move to, I think it's northern San Diego County, right?
Yeah.
Escondido.
The local PA announcer has the original game roster, which had Lamar Nagel as number 27, so they've gotten that one wrong. But we know it was Alex Kasky. 27 is the correct number.
Well, he was half right.
Seattle 1 and New York nothing. Kasky's goal coming in the 37th minute. Couple of saves for each goalkeeper now in the game, but Robles the only one beaten.
Decent save, as we said, though, on Travis Bowen. Robles has looked pretty good down there. Just that rebound just got away from him, and no one on his team was covering.
Espindola doing well to hold the ball up against Birch, but unable to turn. Feeds Alexander, middle of the park, to Lade, left side of the area with some space over there. Drops off for Miller. His cross back post, nobody running, and Marcus Hahnemann, uncontested, comes out to claim it.
There's a communication issue there when you're lumping a ball in that into the box and no one is making a run. Something's wrong.
Nagel inside. Andy Rose on it. Avoids one tackle. Back out wide. It's broken up by Kosuke Kimura. Ahead to Espindola again. Espindola with that step over dribble into the right corner. Low cross knocked down by Zavaleta. And Birch moves it upfield.
Trying to find Martinez in the middle there. Completely marked.
The runs by New York forwards have not been particularly dangerous, and some of that's because Espindola is playing provider more than they would like. Zavaleta floats this one forward for Ochoa, battling with Olave.
And let's be honest, they're trying to find Connor Lade quite often. It's not his natural position either.
Nor is he a particular aerial threat. I'm not trying to be mean. It's just he's not the guy you want on the end of an aerial cross.
He's 5'6". He's the same height as Javier Saviola.
And Corey Ash.
And Corey Ash.
Juninho drives this switch toward Josue Martinez, right corner. He's got Espindola in support at the top of the penalty area. Plays it in that direction, but a tough one to handle. Lamar Nagel trying to work out of trouble for Seattle. Juninho just made a 30-yard sprint to pressure that, but now is caught upfield. Travis Bowen through the center circle. Looking for Ochoa, one-time shot, and surprised Robles a little bit, but didn't have the velocity. And easy save for Luis Robles. Does Sammy Ochoa have a shot at meaningful minutes early in the season for Seattle?
I think he has to, because you don't really know who's going to be playing forward other than Eddie Johnson. You don't know who they're going to bring in, if anyone. All those names have been bounced around. We talked about Javier Saviola. We talked about Obafemi Martins. Really not that many natural forwards on the roster right now. So
David Estrada we've seen, but he certainly drops as a second
Yeah,
forward.
definitely. So, a guy like Sammy Ochoa, he's really, besides Eddie Johnson, he's the only target guy they've got on the roster. So it's something that they're just going to have to use him for.
Roy Miller on the left for New York. 42nd minute here. Seattle up 1-0. Lade got clipped there. It'll be a free kick for the Red Bulls. A reminder, you can hit us up on Twitter at JT Yardley, at Jonah Friedman. Questions, comments, concerns.
They're rolling in now.
They are.
Someone woke up the Seattle, New York fans. Good morning, guys. Ben Smith, what Revlon color do you think Travis Bowen's hair is? I would say that's sort of a platinum periwinkle. Periwinkle's kind of bluish, right? Yeah. From up here, it's hard to tell.
I'm not jumping into this debate. Glad you picked out the good stuff on Twitter.
I just picked out fun colors.
Juninho trying to feed Martinez. It's broken up, and Heath Pierce whistled for the foul.
Somebody did do a good fact check on us. I think we got the schedule wrong. Seattle indeed opens their schedule on March 2nd, I believe, against Montreal at home.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I had the CONCACAF part of the schedule right.
That's all right. That might be the more important date at this point.
I believe that was left over from the friendlies. Simple word processing error there. Connor Lade on the left for New York. 43rd minute.
Here's a good question. From Shots Fired. I like that handle. Who's going to have a better 2013, Mauro Rosales or Thierry Henry? That's a good question. I think for the Red Bulls to have any kind of success, it kind of has to be Thierry Henry. As he goes, that team goes. And I think in some ways this team is being molded in his image. So if he wants this team to win something.
But you're not telling us. You're telling us what that would mean. What do you think will happen?
Oh, I think Thierry Henry's going to have a bigger year, definitely.
Yeah, I would go with Henry as well.
Rosales, you have that sort of variable of his health because he's not a young guy anymore, and he does have the tendency to get hurt.
Here's Miller on the left for New York. Closing stages of the first half. Espindola wide overlap. Lade going to shoot with the right, and it's right into the arms of Marcus Hahnemann.
This is a good point. I was just thinking about this. From Jerry Neal says that Babiele Sodade is a target forward. That is correct. I believe he's 6'3", but has not seen really any minutes for the Sounders of any significance.
Did see him earlier in the tournament. Of course, you're talking about competitive minutes. I'm not
Correct.
disputing that, but we saw him earlier in the tournament. We could see him in the second half today. Here's Zavaleta on the ball. Much more comfortable on the right foot in the early going, and this one over the top runs out of bounds for a New York throw. Here's Carrasco in the middle of the field, finding Ochoa with room to shoot. Let's fly, and it's well off the mark. It's up on the berm out there.
The back line just completely disappeared right there. All of a sudden, Ochoa with nothing but space in front of him, and unfortunately, he also put the ball up into space.
Different kind of space.
Different kind of space.
Scores from around Major League Soccer today. Earlier, right here in Tucson. Oh, there's the halftime whistle. Well, we'll give you the scores anyway. Real Salt Lake beat New England 3-2 here on a last-minute goal by Kari Stevenson. In Carolina, it was Houston 2, Vancouver 1. Late goal from Adam Moffitt. Chicago 2, Charleston 1. Really late goal from Alex. And those are the score updates that we know of. We'll get you the Portland tournament scores as the night goes along. Right here at the half, Seattle 1, New York 0. The goal coming from Alex Kasky on a rebound in the 37th minute. Jonathan Yardley and Jonah Friedman with you as we get a look back at the goal. There's the first shot that Robles stopped, but Kasky all alone and tight angle to put that rebound in from.
Yeah, it's a lot harder than it looks to finish a ball like that. He does a nice job to finish that one off.
You've tried this particular angle?
Every night before I go to bed, yeah. The mini goal in my backyard.
Well, Alex Kasky hit it in a game. Seattle 1, New York 0. We'll take about a 10-minute break, come back, answer Twitter questions, give you some scores, and tell you about the second half. Seattle 1, New York 0 at the break. Stay with us on MLSsoccer.com. Back here in Tucson, getting ready for the start of the second half with Seattle leading the New York Red Bulls 1-0. And in the context of this preseason tournament, that means that Real Salt Lake is in the pole position to advance to Saturday's championship game. Seattle is already there, 2-0, halfway to going 3-0 tonight. New York needs to win by multiple goals to give themselves a shot of going to the final. Right now, not happening so far. Seattle in the lead thanks to an Alex Kasky goal. Jonah, we're going to see some changes in the second half. Maybe not right away, though. Looks like both teams will come out with the same starting group early on. What do we expect to see once we get the starting changes in the second half?
Well, who's to say at this point? I think the field has a lot to play with what kind of changes you make with a slick field like that. You want to make sure you're not getting guys hurt, so maybe you want some more durable guys out there. But I think for New York especially, they got to give their starters a run out at some point. I think Seattle is still sort of trying to preserve their first team. Obviously, like we said, they're going to bring out their first team against Veracruz on Friday in a friendly against the Mexican second division side. It's kind of a warm-up for their Champions League matchup at Tigres in a couple weeks. So we'll see. Your guess is as good as mine, buddy.
One sub at the half for Seattle that we've seen so far is that Jennings Rex is into the ballgame. The rookie out of Charlotte, part of that crew that reached the College Cup back in 2011. 6'1", 154 pounds out of Boone, North Carolina, home of Appalachian State. Fourth-round pick in the supplemental draft this year. And we're still trying to confirm for whom he has entered. It looks like Travis Bowen is out. And we wait and get a look. Marcus Hahnemann and Luis Robles still in goal for their respective squads. Otherwise, looks like no changes for New York that I see just yet. And here we go in the second half. Seattle going left to right with that 1-0 lead. And New York going right to left in the second half, trying to come back and make a game of it and get a read on the second half. And get a chance, rather, in the second half to earn a spot in the final. That one broken up by Pierce at the back. Loose in the midfield, and Roy Miller wins it for the Red Bulls. That one held up by Amando Moreno, one of the halftime subs for New York. Homegrown player out of Marlboro, New Jersey, who has really impressed Mike Petke. He's in there up front. Who else is in, Jonah?
It looks like Marcus Holgersson is back in for Hamilton Olave, the incumbent center back from Sweden. One of the holdovers from the Hans Backe regime. And it looks like Michael Bustamante.
Bustamante out of Boston University.
He's had a good tournament, hasn't he?
He has. I talked to Mike Petke. I was talking rookies with Mike Petke today, as you can tell. And he was very high on Michael Bustamante. Really likes his work on both sides of the ball. He can play in the holding spot or in the attacking spot for New York and is going to give you a good work rate on both sides of the ball. So Holgersson in for Olave. Juninho is out. He was replaced by Bustamante. We told you Juninho still working his way into full fitness. And I'm trying to figure out which of the forwards came out. Is it Espindola?
Espindola, yeah.
There you go. So we think we're caught up on all the changes. Only 4, which is way below average for this tournament. Here is Bustamante on the ball under pressure from Sammy Ochoa. Does well to hold it in a tight spot.
Yeah, from what I can tell, no changes for Seattle.
Well, the one forward change with Jennings Rex coming
that's
in,
it. That's
but no additional, yeah. Miller tries to play that one into the penalty area. Here's Moreno, left side of the box. Playing to Izquierdo, and his first touch let him down at the top of the penalty area. And Seattle will clear the other way. Rex involved in a wrestling takedown, it appeared. And we were just playing through it. It was Heath Pierce that he was involved with. Moreno won't turn 18 until October. In there up front for New York. September, I beg your pardon.
A lot of youth being infused into this New York side.
And then you have Juninho, who's 38.
But plays like he's 35.
A compliment if I've ever heard one. Here's Connor Lade on the left-hand side after Rex couldn't hold it in the box. Rex certainly a dark horse at this point, but still in camp with the Sounders. Here's Kimura stepping up, thinks about shooting. Now outside, Josue Martinez. Kimura's cross, edge of the 6, headed out by Fairclaw. Sliding shot is deflected, and it's going to run out off of Seattle for a corner kick. Looked like Izquierdo sliding, and he'll go over to take the corner as well. Alex Kasky's goal in the 37th minute. The difference in this one right now, Seattle 1, New York nothing. Kasky converting a rebound from a tight angle. And he's a guy who didn't make the squad initially with the Sounders after he was drafted a couple of years ago and then came back to the club much better able to contribute. Here's Bustamante playing it low, deflected, still loose in the penalty area. And finally cleared by Seattle. Lade will bring it all the way back to Kimura, the last man. Pressured by Rex. Martinez plays it behind the back line. Nobody there. And Zavaleta cleans it up backward to Marcus Hahnemann. Seattle has players warming up down in front of us. New York has players warming up behind the goal to your left. So we will get some changes probably around the 60-minute mark we would expect in this half. Jonathan Yardley, Jonah Friedman with you from Tucson. 6th game of the Desert Diamond Cup. Saturday, same stadium. 3rd place game at 4 p.m. local time. That's 6 Eastern. And the championship at 8 Eastern on NBC Sports. Chance for a cross. Cut out by Zavaleta for Seattle. Here's Kosuke Kimura. Into the corner. And the pass backward was too far. Marcus Holgerson keeps it alive for New York. Here's Eric Alexander. Izquierdo wide on the left for Miller. Chance to cross. It's blocked there by Remick, and Karam's out for a New York corner kick. It's Izquierdo again to take it. 4th corner for the Red Bulls. Juninho had the 2 in the first half. Izquierdo taking them here in the second. Floats it back post. One man down. Battling with Heath Pierce. And Pierce got ahead to the ball but couldn't direct it on target. Seattle goes the other way. Played out early looking for Rex. And Bustamante got back to intercept for New York. There's Amando Moreno, who's dispossessed. Andy Rose for Seattle. Switch for Remick under some pressure there from Izquierdo. Kept possession. Long ball here. Rex running behind the defense. Linesman started to put the flag up. Held off. Seattle's still with it. Played through, crossed off of Holgerson, and eventually knocked out by Jennings Rex for a New York goal kick.
I think Rex got rid of it too early. There was a nice, it was Ochoa, I believe, right, who made the pass into him.
I believe so.
Some decent interplay in the box, just I think some inexperience showing there. But some good build-up, nonetheless.
53rd minute. Seattle 1, New York nothing.
Looks like Mauro Rosales and Mario Martinez down here warming up among the group. In front of us, in front of home plate.
Everybody else has ski caps on, so you can't tell who they are.
I'm just naming some notable names. I can keep going if you want. Sounders fans wouldn't want that, would they? People asking us on Twitter if there have been any Shalry Joseph sightings. I personally, neither of us personally has seen him yet, but he is indeed in the building. We're hoping to talk to him post-game.
Check MLSsoccer.com either very late tonight or early in the morning, but more likely.
I personally am always on it, but I think that's part of my job description.
Yes.
Confirmed by John Yardley.
I have your job description on my desktop.
That's some very scary motivation.
Roy Miller, top of the penalty area, looking for Moreno, trying to turn. Zavaleta deals with it. Left-footed shot coming from distance, and Marcus Hahnemann deals with it. That was Josue Martinez getting on his preferred left and letting fly.
Other than the one sliding tackle Hahnemann made towards the end of the first half, I think every single shot that has been put on the Seattle goal has been right at Marcus Hahnemann. He hasn't had that much to do, but
preseason form.
Yeah, well,
keep it on target.
What he's had to do, he's done it well. Good question here from Zach Zielinski asking, would Zavaleta get used as a forward if Seattle needed to put him up top?
They haven't ruled it out.
They haven't ruled it out.
I mean, I think it comes into question if he's not getting practice reps at that position, how effective will he still be there? But we've also heard him described as a natural goal scorer, so hard to replace.
Nice resume builders, though.
Bustamante picks that one off in the midfield for New York, slots it through for Moreno. His shot wide of the far post. New York almost got one back there, and it was two of the youngsters hooking up.
And like we said earlier, New York is starting to churn out these young guys with skill, and they're giving them experience here. Connor Lade, a homegrown. Moreno, homegrown. Castaño, homegrown.
Well, and Mike Petke's quote about Amando Moreno was, "You're making it very hard for me to not consider playing you." And as a coach, that's a great problem to have, is what he said. And this kid's 17, and he's just kind of a terrier nipping at your heels out there. But when he gets on the ball, he's pretty confident.
And, of course, your reaction if you're the player is like, okay, coach, then just play me.
Not a problem from where I'm sitting.
No, but it's nice. I mean, a lot of the criticism under the previous regime was that there really wasn't an emphasis on youth. And to be fair, towards the end of Hans Backe's tenure, he really did start to bring some of these guys along, most notably Connor Lade and Ryan Amira. But it's nice to see that trend continuing under Mike Petke, who's obviously been there for forever.
But when you see a 17-year-old who doesn't turn 18 till September, you don't expect him to see any first-team playing time. And we're not saying that Moreno's going to be a regular, but Mike Petke certainly sounds like he's considering it.
He's got plans for him, definitely.
I mean, who has made an impression on the league at that age? Andy Nahar would be maybe the only one?
Freddie Adu?
Well, I meant as a homegrown player.
Juan Agudelo, maybe?
Yeah, that's probably the other good one. Here's Holgerson at the back for New York. 56th minute.
Not Josue Soto?
He did not, but he is in camp with Chivas USA.
He is.
That one knocked out of bounds for a New York corner. Brian Salazar, signed by Houston, is 18.
Yep.
See if he does anything this year.
What fantastic hair. Ooh.
Oh, he's on the all-hair team right away. DeAndre Yedlin from Seattle.
I was just going to say that. DeAndre Yedlin has
team.
Fantastic hair. I think the two of them, it's sort of like a Neymar/David Bowie Ziggy Stardust look.
That header forces a good save from Hahnemann. It was Roy Miller getting forward and getting ahead on that.
And he's been doing a lot of overlapping on that side, which is something obviously he does well.
That pass breaking through the midfield. Holgerson, though, able to stand up Seattle and win it back for New York.
Seattle wanting the handball there on Kimura. Didn't get it.
This is Moreno, left-hand side, going forward to the corner for Connor Lade, and he overhit it. And the offside flag was up earlier in the play. Here's a look back at the chance for Miller. Gets ahead to it, and it looked like it was targeted just inside the right-hand post, but not enough power on it to beat Marcus Hahnemann.
Good reaction save there from Hahnemann. That's probably the most athletic piece of goalkeeping he's had to do all night, but did it quite well there.
I've got 5 saves tonight for the 40-year-old Hahnemann.
Yep. Out
of Seattle Pacific. Played with the Sounders 1994 to 1996 in the USL.
2-time World Cup veteran. People forget that just because he didn't play.
And, of course, outstanding goalkeeper in England for a number of years. Eric Alexander, right-hand side to Kimura. Here's Roy Miller, left back for New York, chipping it forward. Good run by Izquierdo. Fairclough there to meet him in the first touch again. Bit of a struggle. New York does retain possession, though. Here's Eric Alexander. Take over. Izquierdo on the left-hand side against Zavaleta. I beg your pardon, that was Kasky defending wide, I think. It'll be a free kick for New York, left-hand side.
Incidentally, Roy Miller's been wearing the captain's armband tonight for New York. We should point that out.
Izquierdo lining up the free kick for the Red Bulls. About 20 yards off the end line. They were dangerous with their last set piece from his delivery. Izquierdo has this one blocked, and it runs out for a throw-in. Here's Roy Miller getting forward again on the end line here. And he does win another corner for New York. Fifth corner for the Red Bulls. 60th minute. So we're getting close to the time when we might start to see some changes. We see Zakawani, Evans, Ford among those preparing to check in for Seattle. Izquierdo's corner, floater into the 6, and Marcus Hahnemann is there, fumbles it for a moment, but holds on. The Jonah Friedman curse almost striking again.
I gotta stop mentioning that.
I mean, you can't stop evaluating individuals altogether, but that's 2 goalkeepers tonight.
Both games have had 2 goalkeepers, I believe.
Only one of which in each game you've jinxed.
Yeah, I know.
Luis Robles off his line to get that one off the feet of Jennings Rex.
Leo Gonzalez and Brad Evans warming up beneath us here.
Bustamonte's pass was off the mark there, picked off by Fairclough. Seattle looking for center backs. They also have Jimmy Traore here, and we have heard rumors that he is odds on to sign, but of course it hasn't happened yet. Doesn't look like he'll be going. He's got a bit of a knock this week that has kept him out since the first game of the tournament.
Michael Silvestre, who was training with both Seattle and Portland, ended up signing with Portland today after his rights were traded and were acquired from Seattle, who had the discovery claim on him.
Alexander, neat pass out of trouble. Bustamante moves to Izquierdo. Wide for Lade. Miller going to overlap him. Lade working inside against Remick. Tried to slot it through for Moreno, but overhit it with the right foot.
It's not a bad idea. I just think it was lost a little bit in the execution. Just not the right communication there. Good little overlap there in front of the goal.
There's Birch at left back, all the way back to Hahnemann in goal for Seattle. Neat move by Remick to create some space on this right-hand side. Seattle plays over the top. It hit Holgerson in the back of the head and fortuitously falls to the Red Bulls. Oh, we got a cheat sheet. That's too easy.
Well, as suspected, the mass changes are coming from Seattle. And here they come now.
63rd minute. Should we use the sheet or should we try and figure it out? They're coming for New York as well, so...
We're not on here to guess here, buddy. The fans want to know. All right, here are the changes. We got Mauro Rosales coming in for Lamar Nagel, Steve Zakawani coming in for Kasky, Brad Evans coming in for Rose, Alonso coming in for Carrasco, Leo Gonzalez in for Mark Birch, Zach Scott in for Zavaleta, John Kennedy Hurtado in for Fairclough, Yedlin, the homegrown, in for Remick, David Estrada in for Sammy Ochoa, Mario Martinez in for Jennings Rex, and Josh Ford in for Marcus Hahnemann. So it's a full swap. Entirely new 11 out there, but more or less, how many starters is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 starters in this lineup.
For New York, we're still trying to find all of the changes. This one is knocked away by the new interior of the Sounders backline. One change is that Tyler Ruthven, who was under contract with the team, had his option declined, but is still there trying to earn a spot for this year, is in at center back in place of Heath Pierce. We also see Andrew Ribeiro on the field, rookie out of Creighton, trying to earn a spot. I believe I beg your pardon, Alexander has his number. Whoops. Preseason.
Preseason. At least they have numbers on their backs. Some of these previous games, they did not.
You're telling me. Here's Brad Evans in the middle of the field for Seattle. Lloyd Sam in on the far side for New York.
Looks like the rain is starting to come back down again. It's got to be icy out there. It's funny, when you have these wholesale changes like that, obviously it's kind of like a brand new ball game, and yet you've still got Seattle with a 1-0 lead.
So I believe those are the only two changes. Oh,
yeah.
no, Brandon Barklage in as well for Kosuke
There
Kimura. There's the third. I thought there was another one.
So if this holds, it's a Seattle RSL. Is it a rematch in the final? I guess they're all rematches since all these teams have played each other. But it's a rematch of, as we said, really what's developed into a really good rivalry in MLS over the past couple of years. Western Conference foes Seattle and Real Salt Lake meeting in the postseason each of the last two seasons, and both times really, really good series.
And their game this tournament was one of the better ones. The goal from Mario Martinez in this tournament was incredible in how similar it was to his strike in terms of the final finish. I think he had a little more, took a few more dribbles.
Yeah, the same area in the field, same foot, same spot in the goal.
And that goal, of course, won their playoff series in November. And again, he scored the opening goal in a 2-1 Seattle win over RSL on Saturday. And again, they look likely to meet this coming Saturday as well. Here's Martinez on his left foot, shot from distance, easily held by Luis Robles.
And like we said before, both of these teams have developed a really good rivalry because of the football that they play. Just really good stylistically, and you know their style. We're talking about Seattle and RSL.
I think it's because of the soccer they play.
Just trying to do my part here.
You don't have the accent.
I don't call it a pitch. I don't call it a kit.
Then why do you say football?
I think it's after a while you start talking to so many of these players and it rubs off. But I will not do kit or pitch or stuck in or work rate.
I'm guilty as charged on work rate.
What is a work rate, John?
How much effort you put in on both sides of the ball? This player has an impressive work rate.
So, effort?
Yeah.
I should do like Connor Lade's effort. All right, here's an easy one from Pete Zirk. Who's going to be the Red Bulls' third DP?
Oh, easy, yes.
It's a basic question.
Gerard Houllier and I have had many conversations about this in French. New York going forward on the right, and the offside flag is up against Lloyd Sam. It'll be a free kick to Seattle as we get what I'm pretty sure is snow at this point.
That would be snow, yes, indeed.
And the windows here in Tucson are notoriously difficult to close once they're open.
Producer here, John Benton, really having some difficulty with that. But, hey, I guess that's not in his job description either.
Peggy Luyandula is in the game for New York. Great background in France. He's in for Roy Miller. So Connor Lade will go to left back. David Estrada for Seattle attacking the penalty area. Leaves it for Yedlin. His cross finds Evans, whose header is off the mark. But good build-up by Seattle on the right-hand side.
I love what Martinez brings down the wing. I'm sorry, that's Yedlin. Excuse me.
Even better hair.
Yeah. I haven't really had a chance to see Yedlin all that much, and obviously they're very high on him. He's come up through their academy. One of this new generation of homegrown guys. There have been about 9 or 10 of them signed in the last couple months by various MLS clubs, and the hopes is that system, that homegrown initiative, is going to work out better than it did in the early days.
Well, I've had the chance to meet Yedlin's grandparents this week.
Did they have the hair?
Who raised him. They do not have the hair, but they told me a good story about the hair, and since I probably won't get a chance to use it during the regular season, I'll tell it now. And is DeAndre Yedlin, who now has this shock of bleached hair, as Ruthven's whistled for a foul. It'll be a free kick to Seattle.
Is it anime hair? Neymar hair?
I'm not gonna put a label on
okay.
it. I haven't asked him how he thinks of it.
We don't like labels.
But his high school did not allow any hair that brought undue attention to you. And so in high school, he was a total straight-laced, like short haircut, very normal. As this one falls to Estrada on the back post, but he can't keep his footing. And so it's kind of hard to those of us who have just come to see DeAndre Yedlin on this stage to think of him without that distinctive hair. But I think the first chance he got after leaving O'Day High School,
he had to blossom.
he had to.
If you love something, set it free.
express himself. That's what college is all about,
yeah.
right? Finding yourself. He found it in Akron, Ohio.
I did it by gaining 15 pounds my freshman year. I don't think that's very original.
You're not the only one.
Snow's really starting to come down hard now. It's actually harder than anything it's been all day.
An unusual setting for a soccer game. Seattle leading 1-0.
The good news is the forecast clears up. So hopefully by Saturday for the third place game in the final, it'll be nice.
I think I know a few people who are hoping for that as well.
Got to say big ups to the MLSsoccer.com camera crew who's really in the trenches right now. They've
We
been
cannot thank them
freezing
enough.
all night.
They come in here at halftime and
Huddle for body warmth.
try to thaw out. We can laugh because we're up here.
No, they do a phenomenal job, and we appreciate it, guys.
David Estrada offside there. Free kick to New York at the back.
This is quite a sight. It's starting to look like that playoff game between D.C. and New York in November.
Yeah, just without the snow on the ground, anybody shoveling. '70th minute here. Seattle still leading 1-0. Jonathan Yardley, Jonah Friedman with you in the snow from Tucson. Words that are rarely stated on any broadcast.
Did you just say that?
I did. It's not a bad picture.
No, it's pretty cool,
that's
actually.
snow.
I mean, this is not exactly the type of thing you expect to see in preseason, but for what it is, it's a pretty cool sight.
At least I brought my jacket on this trip. For the friendlies, I did not have any real good warm weather clothes.
That's just poor planning.
Cold weather
For
clothes.
a guy from Jersey, that's just poor planning.
Yeah. I didn't bring a whole lot to Shreveport.
The South has changed you, man.
It's made me soft. Josh Ford with a clearance there for Seattle. Here's Mauro Rosales. We're interested to see how he plays it forward. He's up there with David Estrada in this game, and Luis Robles out off his line to clear that one. Rosales back to Mario Martinez. They exchange passes. The ball boy got in the way. That was a tackle made by a ball kid on the near sideline. I don't think I've ever seen that before. I think the youth involved was chasing a ball to keep it from going back onto the field, but in the end, she got in the way.
I think she just blew her shot at a homegrown contract.
So New York, of course, returned the ball to Seattle. Here is Rosales after Martinez was stripped by Tyler Ruthven. Here's Luyindula. I can't say his name. Luyindula. And Izquierdo's pass blocked. Seattle's with it now.
This may not surprise you to hear, but it looks like it is not easy to play out there right now. There has not been very many long, drawn-out possessions in the last 10 minutes or so.
Brad Evans deep in the Seattle midfield from Arizona. I don't think this is what he had in mind when he heard playing in his home state in the preseason. Mario Martinez on the right flank for Seattle. Great seeing his confidence kind of increase over his time with Seattle, mostly thanks to his exploits with Honduras. And we'll see if Seattle can reap the rewards here.
He's really been an excellent pickup and kind of a secret pickup because nobody knew anything about him when they signed him mid-season last year. And it took him a few games to, well, apparently you did. It took him a few games to find his form. And
he didn't do a whole lot for Seattle, let's be
honest.
He had the playoff goal, but
exactly,
for Honduras, terrific.
Well, but I think that's the kind of thing you build off of. I mean, these guys have shown with the Honduran national team that they've got that pedigree, they've got the international experience, and they can translate it to the club level. You look at all these guys who have come in over the past year or so, and they've all been very, very good.
Let's say last offseason it was Colombian players, and
yeah, now it's
since last summer it's been Hondurans. Mauro Rosales with the free kick leaves it for Martinez in swinger, headed out by Barklage for New York. Luyindula starts it. Bustamante to Lloyd Sam, moving inside.
Some good build-up here from New York for the first time in several minutes.
Connor Lade. Now to a more familiar left back spot. Goes inside. Moreno couldn't hold it. Izquierdo's pass is picked off. Eric Alexander, I think he and Lade maybe the lone players still in there from the starting group for New York, along with the goalkeeper Robles. Here's Holgersen, one of the holdovers from the Hans Backe's European influx.
The Viking invasion, they called it.
Okay, thank you. That is catchier. Barklage on the right-hand side, back to Bustamante. We should mention Ian Christensen, one of New York's rookies, still unavailable with a hip injury, but he's also shown well in this preseason.
I expect to sign him, although they did trade for Johnny Steele, do-it-all midfielder today, whose rights came from RSL, and it becomes a question now, how many spots are left on this roster for these young guys?
Lloyd Sam on the right, his cross blocked. Falls back to him. Neat move by Barklage to get around one man. Gets in the cross. Josh Ford freezes on it for a sec and then has it safely without too much pressure. I asked Mike Petke that question, will this affect any of these guys' chances? And he said those decisions wouldn't really be affected by the move. I think they have a pretty good idea of who they're going to sign and who may need a little more work. Lade and Alexander not on the same page there. Estrada picked it off for Seattle. Martinez switches to Zakawani on the left. One-on-one against Barklage. Zakawani to the left foot, plays it across. Rosales, too high for Rosales, and that meant it was too far in front of David Estrada. And then Estrada and Robles collided in the goal. And fortunately, both seem to be okay. Robles getting up a little slower. Here's a look at the cross to the back post. I don't know if it would have fallen kindly to Estrada, but it certainly came off the head of Rosales and surprised him.
If you're a Sounders fan, though, you have to be really encouraged by seeing Steve Zakawani with that explosive speed down to the end line. That's the kind of thing that fans got used to seeing out of him during his rookie year and his third year in Seattle before that horrible injury. And he wasn't obviously not the same player last year while recovering. It was nice to see him back on the field, but now the question is if he can regain that form of a few years ago when he really was one of the best young players in the league. Front runner for comeback player of the year in my mind.
Now Armando Villarreal, the referee, running to the sideline for help with something. We couldn't see for what. The players are staying on the field, so not like the slight delay we had in the first game. I think he's talking with the coaches between the benches. New York, during this delay, made a substitution. Ruben Izquierdo came out, and on came Rafinha, 20-year-old Brazilian of Austrian heritage, who turns 21 in March, who's been on trial. They've only gotten a brief look at him. Mike Petke said there's still quite a bit of a language barrier there, but Rafinha in the ball game at left wing.
Brazilian of Austrian heritage.
He's played for Austrian youth international teams despite being from Brazil.
Sounds like Benny Feilhaber.
Yedlin clearance there, knocked down by Ruthven. Dangerous back pass. Luckily, Holgersen was there to help, and you can see the ball kind of being slowed down now. Some of this snow is starting to stick on the ground, and it's slowing things down at times.
I half expected Estrada to get a foot on that.
It wouldn't be the first Red Bulls back pass to go awry in this tournament. They opened it in rather inauspicious fashion. Here's Yedlin overlapping on the right. Cutting inside. Now Zakawani to Rosales. Evans in the box. The cross is low and knocked away awkwardly by Holgersen. Mario Martinez does it again. From outside the box, Mario Martinez hit the volley clean and put it inside the left-hand post. It's 2-0 Seattle.
That's what you're starting to expect out of this guy. It just takes a moment of brilliance, give him some time. You don't even need to give him time. Just give him some space, and he'll figure it out. Great hit.
The clearance from Holgersen falling to Martinez. Rips that one inside the left-hand post. Here's a look at it again. Rosales' cross. And Holgersen wasn't real authoritative with his clearance, just straight up in the air, and nobody pressured Martinez. And great technique to keep that one inside the left-hand post. 2-0 Seattle. And that ought to seal Real Salt Lake's spot in the championship game Saturday night. Seattle looking to go 3-0 in this tournament. And Mario Martinez with 2 goals, both of the spectacular variety in this tournament. Certainly making a bid for MVP. And it all started with Yedlin's overlap, we should mention. There's Rafinha with a steal into the box. Tried to find Luyendula, and it's broken up by Hurtado. Knocks it backward to Josh Ford. In the snow, Mario Martinez lighting it up from outside the area.
You get a lot of practice doing that in Honduras. He's turning into a special player. There's no other way to say it. I mean, he's going to be one of these difference makers. He's so young and just getting better for his national team and finding his role on this club. Yeah,
the question is, where does he fit? And that's one reason playing Rosales at forward, where you're not entirely sure what you're going to get from Rosales at forward, but it is a way to get Martinez on the field and keep your full-strength guys out there.
The other options, you push Rosales further into the middle, and that creates all other kinds of lineup problems.
But you're taking out Evans, Alonso, or Zakawani? Those are all kind of.
Or you wonder if Tiffert's done here. That's the other big question.
Yeah, he's not here, and that seems like a big indicator to us.
Portends something.
We have not. Many have asked, and none have gotten answers from Seattle on that front. But
keeping tight-lipped on that one.
Alexander and Estrada colliding there, and it goes New York's way. 80th minute, Seattle 2. The New York Red Bulls nothing. Goals from Alex Kasky in the first half, Mario Martinez in the second. Neat turn by Rafinha, who's looked a lot more comfortable as this tournament has gone on. Switches it for Lloyd Sam. Has Barklage outside of him. Ahead to Sam in the corner. 2 on him. Leo Gonzalez and Steve Zakawani. Sam to the end line, tried to keep the ball in, and eventually the Seattle duo won it. Gonzalez now upfield for Estrada. Broken up at the halfway line. That'll give us a chance to look back at Mario Martinez's goal. A bit of a different angle on this. And it's still pretty cool. Doesn't matter what angle you're looking at. That's a heck of a goal. Doesn't matter if it's preseason, in training, in the Open Cup, regular season, all the way up through the playoffs. That's a pretty good goal.
He's a difference maker. What other way is there to say it? Just needs a millisecond to do something like that.
Here's Yedlin at right back. Ahead to Mario Martinez, inside on that left foot. He also seems very adept at playing on his wrong foot, and for some players it's an advantage, for some players it's not, but for him that right side is a great spot. Rosales with his back to goal, kept that one moving, but Holgerson headed it away in the direction of Amando Moreno. It's broken up there by Alonso for Seattle. Here's Zach Scott. His pass picked off by Rafinha for New York, also known as Rafael Dominguez. Cuts between two, top of the box, trying to continue, and has it broken up. Just ran out of options there. But Zach Scott playing at center back, is he the answer, Jonah, for the Champions League series? That you need a quick fix there. Patrick Ianni's still injured, and he's partnering John Kennedy Hurtado in the starting group tonight as Zakawani plays it across and Ruthven knocks away.
You don't really have many choices, do you? I mean, Brad Evans has also played back there, but he's also played everywhere on the field. Jimmy Traore, as much as they like him, if they sign him, he's not going to be ready.
So Zach Scott certainly the odds-on favorite at the moment. Here's Rosales on the left, looking for Estrada. Headed away by Ruthven. Still loose, though. Here's Martinez again. Tried to chip it for Zakawani, and it was broken up by Connor Lade. Here comes Yedlin bursting forward again. Now drops it backward to Evans. Alonso switches to Rosales in the left-hand corner. Only Estrada in the box at the moment. Plays the cross toward him, and Holgerson easily able to read it. That's one of the problems with Rosales at forward, is if he pulls out wide as he likes to do and is very effective at, will Seattle be able to get enough other numbers into the box to be dangerous?
You would hope so. I mean, and it seems like Eddie Johnson has become a one-man wrecking crew out there. It doesn't really matter who his partner is. He can get the job done by himself. He's your classic. He's not just a target forward. I mean, he's got the technical skill, too. So he really has been the answer to a lot of their problems.
Awkward back pass in the snow, and the clearance finally put back to Robles by Tyler Ruthven. Not a tournament Luis Robles is going to look back on fondly, playing in his hometown. 3-1 loss to New England on Saturday. He only gave up the first two. And now down 2-0 to Seattle today.
What's the name of his hometown? Is it Fort Huachuca? It's got a great name. Right down the road here.
Huachuca. Yedlin getting forward again, and it's broken up by Ruthven. I've got it right here. Huachuca, I'm sorry.
That's Huachuca.
Fort Huachuca.
For you gringos.
Who are you calling a gringo?
I think that speaks for itself.
Here's Barklage at the back for New York. 85th minute. Seattle leading 2-0. Going to go 3-0, sweep the group play here, and cruise into the final where, again, they will take on Real Salt Lake. 8 p.m. start time.
NBC Sports Network.
On the NBC Sports Network on Saturday night. I'd say that's their broadcast window start time.
How is it that Arlo White always ends up getting the Sounders?
Estrada moving into the middle of the field. I feel like you're going to get some tweets about that. To Zakawani on the left-hand side, working against Barklage. Zakawani to the left foot. Barklage read it and knocked it off of Zakawani's shins, out for a New York goal kick.
The fact that this is mostly Seattle's starting offensive unit, it's good news because things get much more important for them a lot quicker than other MLS teams, obviously, because of Champions League. There really is no room for error. Plenty of teams there early in the season, they try to play their way into form. It's still kind of ironing out the kinks. It doesn't happen when you're in Champions League, and it's in 10 days.
It's interesting to see Yedlin in this group. Again, Adam Johansson, I don't think it's expected to be a serious injury, but he's still out. And Zach Scott, who would normally play right back, playing in the middle, he wouldn't throw DeAndre Yedlin to start at Tigres, would he?
I wouldn't. I'm really excited about that matchup, though. And Tigres have proved themselves being one of the class teams of Liga MX over the past few years, and it really is a rite of passage if you're an MLS team and you're looking to progress. I mean, you got to beat the best.
Rite of passage that none have passed.
Well,
except for Kansas City in 2002.
Different times, my friend.
Mario Martinez into the middle of the field to Brad Evans. Swings it to Leo Gonzalez. Hurtado through the falling snow to Osvaldo Alonso. Zakawani coming central to swing it wide. Martinez can't keep it in, but the foul whistled in the center circle against New York. It'll be a free kick to the Sounders.
This is a good question here from Kyle Vanderwall on Twitter. Should Mario Martinez be given a chance to play up top? That's an interesting possibility.
Given the 2 goals I've just seen him score while playing right mid, I don't want to touch anything. I want to keep him in that spot. Bigger picture, it's a good question. He's so technical. I like having him in the midfield. I think I'd rather see Zakawani up top for me personally.
Sounders GM Adrian Hanauer saying on a teleconference the other day that they are pretty sure they're going to get another DP in there soon. Of course, that begs the question, who is it going to be, because they don't have the spot right now. We talked about Christian Tiffert perhaps being on the way out, but they seem to think they're getting some big attacking player. And we've talked about some of these names, Javier Saviola, Obafemi Martins. Clearly, it's going to be some sort of big attacking name.
Mario Martinez.
Talk about a glut of riches.
With Estrada outside. They're doing okay.
Yeah. Someone asked earlier on Twitter, what are Seattle's chances for Supporter Shield? And that's tough. You figure that a lot of their early years are going to be taken up with Champions League if they can get past Tigres.
Zakawani outside to Estrada. Rosales the only man in the box. Seattle not working with a lot of urgency at the moment, just trying to keep the lead and keep the ball. Here is Zach Scott all the way back to John Kennedy Hurtado. Couple of minutes to play here in Tucson. Seattle 2, New York nothing. Rafinha pressuring Zach Scott. Wins the ball. Into the box, trying to get to his right foot. Layoff. Shot is blocked. Flag is up. And I believe it's going to be offside against the Red Bulls. After Moreno's shot from outside was blocked in the center of the area. What does New York take away from this night and the 3 games so far? I mean, I don't think it's been as bad as some of the scores, but defensively there's got to be some concerns.
Yeah, and then they're still trying to figure out the right formula. You've got so many new faces in you. You've got so many young kids trying to make names for themselves. You've got a young coach who's trying to put his stamp on the team that, quite frankly, has been somebody else's team every single year, it seems like. So, and don't forget, they didn't do so great here last year at the Desert Diamond Cup either. So a lot of question marks for the Red Bulls.
Yeah, and preseason results are never the primary thing that coaches are looking for out of games.
No, but you want to see signs of progress, and you know there are some problems here, especially defensively.
Zakharwani working in off the left side for Seattle. Goes down as if fouled and gets the foul.
Although defensive problems in New York Red Bulls are not exactly too foreign terms.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah.
Rosales trying to turn away from Eric Alexander, who's going to go 90 minutes in this game.
Doesn't surprise me.
Luyendula out to Lloyd Sam on the right, playing it forward, looking for Moreno, just too far.
Nice idea.
We haven't seen a whole lot of Lloyd Sam since the first day of the tournament. At times, it's been projected as the starter out wide on the right for the Red Bulls.
Yeah, he showed a lot of potential last year when he came in at midseason before getting hurt. I thought they had something with him on the wing. I mean, a pure wing play. Good work rate, John.
No argument here. 90 minutes here. Cross comes out for Martinez. The flag has been up for a while, and that's going to do it. Full time in Tucson. Seattle with a 2-0 win. Real Salt Lake will meet Seattle in the Desert Diamond Cup final on Saturday night. New York will play New England in the 3rd place game. Jonathan Yardley and Jonah Friedman with you. Jonah, your final thoughts on this evening?
Well, I think it's just what we just talked about. New York still has a lot of questions to answer defensively. They look like they still just don't have it locked down. Just too many faces looking to integrate at one time. A lot of these guys tonight hadn't played with each other before. A lot of young guys up top. For Seattle, they got what they needed out of this after a first half where they got a goal out of mostly reserves. They brought the most of the starting lineup in for the second half and showed pretty well, I thought. And that portends pretty, there's that word again. I think that speaks well for them as they get ready for Champions League.
We'll start with we'll look at the highlights. We start with Juninho's free kick that went just wide of Marcus Hahnemann in the first half, one of the good chances for New York. And then here's the goal that started, beg your pardon. This is the earlier chance for Seattle with Lamar Nagel busting through. Gets by 2 men, and Luis Robles came off the line to save it. That was in the 29th minute. And then for Seattle, this is the goal. Alex Kasky reaches the rebound first and slams it in from a bad angle, in off the left-hand post to put Seattle up 1-0. That was in the 37th minute. And then in the second half, this clearance fell to Mario Martinez, and he knows what to do with it from outside the area. Volley inside the left post, out of the reach of Luis Robles to put Seattle up 2-0. And can this guy hit some spectacular strikes or what? Had one on Saturday and has one again tonight. That put a cap on it. Seattle 2, New York 0. Y'all, hats off to our entire crew for braving the weather. It is snowing out there, and we've got guys manning cameras gamely, so thanks to them for their work the entire week.
They're playing Let It Snow here over the PA.
Why not?
Didn't expect to hear that today.
Thanks to everyone who made our broadcast possible in Tucson this week. For my partners, Greg Lawless earlier, Jonah Friedman tonight, I'm Jonathan Yardley. Check out the championship game Saturday night on the NBC Sports Network. For MLSsoccer.com, Jonah Friedman, Jonathan Yardley. Good night from Tucson. Let it snow.